And back here at home, speed cameras could soon be a thing of the past in the country's largest province. Ontario Premier Doug Ford is expected to announce planned legislation that would ban speed cameras. In recent weeks, the Premier has called the devices a tax grab and says they unfairly target motorists. However, many groups, including the Ontario Chiefs of Police, have spoken up in favor of speed cameras in light of the Premier's comments. With more, let's turn to CTV's Scott Hurst. So, Scott, as we mentioned in the lead-up, Premier Ford has talked a lot about this just a couple of days ago. He was on this with reporters saying it's just to make money. Talk to us more about why this is such a controversial topic.
Marcia, it is controversial because I guess whoever you talk to, it's either really good or really bad. If you've been nabbed by a speed camera and you got a fine, you're probably in the camp of people who think that they should be taken down and that they unfairly target drivers. But for the other hand, as you mentioned, chiefs of police, many across the province and across the country, as well as road safety advocates, many city officials, including, as we heard earlier this week as well, from Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow, they're in the camp that favors speed cameras, saying they do good work and that they are important tools when it comes to overall road safety. But it appears pretty obvious that Ontario Premier Doug Ford is in the camp that says they're bad. And as you pointed out, he has bluntly said he's been calling them a cash grab and has been calling on mayors and municipalities to remove them. And if not, he at the provincial level will then get rid of them. Here's what the Premier had to say just earlier this week about this issue leading up to today's news conference.
I could bring people to a halt, a stop, bring them under the speed limit. We can come up with all sorts of different strategies rather than dinging the people with fines.
And Marcia, in particular, another reason why they've become such a hot-button issue in the province of Ontario, particularly Toronto, is that we've also seen many speed cameras cut down, rendered inoperable over the past couple of weeks. Dozens, in fact, as the city has reported, hundreds of cases of vandalism against these speed cameras. Oftentimes, it is just vandalism, and they are still able to operate. But more recently, we've seen them cut down, dozens cut down in Toronto over the past couple of weeks. Also, the similar story in in Ottawa, where speed cameras have also been vandalized as of late. And so that is really why it is becoming an issue that is front and center, not just for municipalities like Toronto and Ottawa, but for the Premier himself to come out and say he wants them gone completely, Marcia.
Yeah, we've been following all that violence with those speed cameras. My goodness. So, Ontario not the only province that has faced this debate before. It's also been a controversial topic in Alberta and Nova Scotia, Scott.
Yeah, Alberta earlier this year has actually introduced legislation that ultimately bans them on most roads other than for school zones, playgrounds, and construction zones, calling it a cash grab as well and saying it is ending this revenue-generating fishing holes ultimately that had Alberta using photo radar, but that province has gone and gotten rid of them on most highways and roads in that province, whereas over out east in Nova Scotia, they're considering implementing the use of speed cameras in that province. And so it is a topic of discussion that is coming to a head, not just here in Ontario, as we've seen in the wake of this significant amount of vandalism to these speed cameras, and now the Premier of Ontario coming out saying he plans to take action as he's holding a news conference later this morning with his Minister of Transport. We've seen in these other provinces as well, Marcia. It is a controversial topic and not one that has a similar solution as provinces looking for different avenues. One recently taking them down, another, Ontario, looking to likely do that as well, and another looking to potentially implement them.
Scott, thanks for that. And of course, CTV News Channel will be carrying that live once we hear from the Premier later this morning. Now to